South Park savage moments. South Park has never cared about being polite. For more than 2 decades, it's been the only show that can roast politicians, religions, billion-dollar corporations, and entire countries, and somehow still stay on air. From banned episodes to furious celebrities and even international outrage, South Park doesn't cross the line, it redraws it every single time. Back in 1997, 2 college friends from Colorado sold a cardboard cutout short called The Spirit of Christmas for $1,500. That tiny sale accidentally launched one of the loudest, rudest revolutions in TV history. Trey Parker and Matt Stone had no plan, no PR team, just paper cutouts and chaos. When South Park hit Comedy Central that August, it wasn't just a cartoon, it was a middle finger to every rule on television. The pilot, Cartman Gets an Anal Probe, drew 1.3 million viewers and more than 5,000 complaint letters within a week. Parents called it satanic. Schools banned kids from wearing shirts with the logo. By episode 5, sponsors were threatening to pull out, and Comedy Central execs privately debated canceling it. Parker and Stone's reaction? They doubled down. The next episode was even more offensive, packed with cruder jokes and sharper insults. That's how South Park found its identity, by refusing to apologize. Then came the moment that defined their fearlessness. Season 9, 2005. The episode Bloody Mary showed the Virgin Mary bleeding in a church parking lot. The Catholic League called for a boycott within hours. Bishops in Ireland and New Zealand demanded a total ban, and got it. But Parker and Stone didn't flinch. The very next month, they went after Scientology and Trapped in the Closet. The episode mocked Tom Cruise, John Travolta, and the entire belief system. Tom Cruise reportedly refused to attend any Viacom event until Comedy Central pulled it. Isaac Hayes, the voice of Chef and a longtime Scientologist, quit the show days later. Not because of racial jokes or profanity, but because his religion finally got roasted. The response from Parker and Stone was brutal. They killed off Chef in the most graphic death the show had ever done. Burned, impaled, and exploded in one scene. The chaos didn't stop there. In 2006, they tried to air a 2-part episode featuring the Prophet Muhammad in a superhero costume. Within days, Comedy Central received death threats from a radical group. Major US networks refused to touch the story. The episode was censored beyond recognition. Trey Parker later said, "That was the first time censorship won." But even when they were silenced, they still hit harder than anyone else. The show started predicting real events before they happened, and it freaked people out. In 2008, About Last Night aired less than 24 hours after Barack Obama's victory speech. The episode already had him animated as president. Viewers thought it was witchcraft. It was just insane production speed. During the 2020 lockdowns, the pandemic special captured America's unraveling before most news outlets had caught up, complete with toilet paper hoarding, misinformation, and cops replacing teachers. Months later, those exact scenes played out in real life. It wasn't luck. Parker and Stone had always treated headlines like raw material. Sponsored content called out influencer culture and safe space politics years before mainstream media took the topic seriously. Fans began compiling a list of South Park predictions: hybrid cars, Amazon's rise, social media addiction, political scandals. NASA scientists even invited Parker to a Q&A after the Go God Go episode nailed the cultural patterns of modern atheism. The creators never bragged about it. They just knew satire was sharper when you stopped trying to please anyone. But in 2010, the backlash hit its peak. The 2-part special 200-201 gathered every celebrity the show had ever mocked, then teased showing Muhammad again. Within 48 hours, Comedy Central was flooded with bomb threats. The network panicked. Dialogue was replaced with bleep tones, and Kyle's final "What We Learned Today" speech was completely muted. Trey Parker called it a victory for fear. Fans called it proof that South Park had become too real to air. Years later, the uncensored version leaked online. It instantly became one of the most watched banned animations in history. From a $1,500 cardboard short to global censorship threats, South Park didn't just break rules, it turned outrage into oxygen. Every complaint, every ban, every lawsuit just made it louder. That's how it survived when every other edgy show burned out. Because from day one, Parker and Stone didn't care who was watching, they only cared who was offended. In October 2019, South Park took on a target most networks wouldn't even whisper about. The episode banned in China ripped into Chinese censorship and the way Hollywood bends over to stay in Beijing's good books. The plot followed Randy Marsh getting arrested for selling weed in China, while the boys tried to start a band that had to delete anything offensive to pass Chinese approval. It wasn't subtle. Winnie the Pooh was shown in handcuffs. The satire was so direct that within 24 hours, every trace of South Park disappeared from the Chinese internet. Entire seasons were wiped from Tencent Video and Bilibili. Fan pages vanished from Weibo. Even discussion threads containing the word South Park were replaced with error messages. It wasn't a slow takedown. It was a digital erasure. Parker and Stone's response landed like a grenade. On October 7, 2019, they posted a fake apology on Twitter. Like the NBA, we welcome the Chinese censors into our homes and into our hearts. We too love money more than freedom and democracy. Long live the great Communist Party! The sarcasm hit global headlines. Within 24 hours, it had over 25 million views and was shared by journalists, activists, and even banned Chinese users through VPNs. Western media outlets were stunned. No one in entertainment ever mocked China that openly and kept their platform. Disney stayed quiet. The NBA was apologizing to Chinese officials at the same time, while South Park doubled down. Comedy Central didn't issue a retraction, and Viacom CBS didn't suspend the show. It was a rare moment when Hollywood's most untouchable censorship line got crossed, and somehow, South Park survived it. By 2020, that same defiance turned prophetic. When the pandemic special aired on September 30th, it became South Park's highest-rated episode in nearly a decade, pulling almost 4 million live viewers overnight. The timing was brutal. The world was barely 6 months into COVID lockdowns. Trey Parker and Matt Stone didn't treat it like a tragedy. They treated it like a mirror. Randy Marsh, now a weed mogul, turned into a walking parody of misinformation and greed. He blamed bats, pangolins, and special ingredients from his farm for the outbreak. Viewers noticed something eerie. It aired before the major public debates about vaccine passports, conspiracy protests, and plandemic documentaries. The show seemed to sense exactly where the chaos was heading. Then came South Park Q, the vaccination special in March 2021. It targeted QAnon believers, anti-vaccine crowds, and cable news hysteria, while those movements were still dominating real headlines. Parker and Stone made QAnon followers literal school janitors, chanting conspiracy slogans through the hallways. Critics called it too soon, accusing the creators of exploiting trauma while people were still dying. Fans thought the opposite. To them, it was exactly on time, a release valve for a year of collective madness. Despite the outrage, the two specials were nominated for Primetime Emmys, including Outstanding Animated Program. Even the Television Academy seemed to admit what everyone knew. No one else could turn real-time collapse into comedy that fast. The show's ability to punch in every direction eventually came full circle when celebrities tried to hit back and failed. In April 2009, Fish Sticks aired. The joke was simple. Anyone who likes fish sticks is a gay fish. Kanye West took it personally. Within 24 hours, he posted a full-length rant on his blog, calling Trey Parker and Matt Stone racist voices and insisting they had disrespected my genius. The meltdown only amplified the episode's point, his inability to take a joke. A year later, Kanye referenced it again, admitting in an interview that he'd been too sensitive. Paris Hilton's turn came earlier in 2004. The episode's stupid spoiled horror video playset mocked her brand of fame, portraying her as an empty celebrity who spreads misery to girls for profit. Hilton's lawyers drafted a lawsuit threat, but her PR team backed down after realizing suing South Park would make the insult immortal. Around the same period, Ben Affleck's fictional romance with Cartman's hand puppet and Cartman's mom is still a dirty slut triggered MTV executives who briefly considered pulling South Park promos from late-night rotation. It never happened. Comedy Central refused to cave. Then came Barbra Streisand, one of the earliest celebrity feuds in South Park history. In the 1999 episode Mecha Streisand, she was portrayed as a Godzilla-like monster destroying towns while singing protest songs. Streisand publicly condemned it and demanded Comedy Central pull the episode. Trey Parker responded by mocking her again in a DVD commentary, describing her as the voice of everything humorless in Hollywood. He even brought Mecha Streisand back in 2010 for a revenge cameo, just to make sure she saw it. Even Parker and Stone weren't immune from their own audience turning on them. During the Trump years, a small but vocal segment of fans accused the show of soft-playing the former president after member Barry's and the very first gentleman took aim at both sides. For a few weeks in 2017, had Cancel South Park trended, not as an attack from outsiders, but from people who thought the show had gone quiet on Trump. Parker responded in interviews saying they were done with Trump jokes because reality was already too absurd to parody. Fans eventually dropped the campaign, but it showed how South Park had outlasted the outrage cycles it once created. Between the China ban, the pandemic specials, and the celebrity feuds, one thread stayed constant. Every time someone tried to silence South Park, it just became louder. Whether it was a communist regime, a global crisis, or the ego of a pop star, the result was always the same. The more people pushed back, the more Parker and Stone leaned in.